Transformers, defenders of truth, robots who fight in disguise.
Thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming to you with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Megatron, part of the 30th anniversary celebrating Transformers. And in that celebration, we're looking at Megatron in a completely different look. That being how he appears in the IDW comics. And apparently, he's a bomber, some kind of flying bomber thingy, which actually looks pretty cool. He's this really dark, it's hard to actually see if the whole thing is purple, but there's a lot of purple in this guy. I'll look a whole lot closer here in a minute. But one thing that I absolutely love is he comes with a comic book giving you a spotlight on the actual character, which is really neat. And I love how they really incorporate that comic book into the overall design of the packaging. I think it's a wonderful touch. It's very simple. And I mean, obviously you only got Transformers Generations up there in a small kind of print. And really what you rely on is this image here of Megatron to sell the product. So really cool. He's a Decepticon. He's figure number 3 in the series. You got Trail Cutter, who we already took a look at a little bit ago. Then we got Bumblebee as well. Then you come around here to the back, you got his tech specs, and everything is as you would imagine. 8s, 9s, and 10s. Well, he's only got one 8, and that's a speed, because a stealth bomber really isn't all that fast. And it says there was a time when those who wore the Decepticon badge did so with pride and not fear. There was a time when the name of Megatron was honored by many across Cybertron. He was a scholar, a warrior, and a hero, fighting for the freedom of the oppressed. But power inevitably corrupts, and none are so powerful as mighty Megatron. Long ago, he forgot he was a hero and became nothing more than a tyrant. I absolutely love that, because some of the best bad guys start off as good guys. They don't intend to do bad. They just kind of get sucked into it. But those always make the best villains. And obviously you see the stealth bomber mode. His wings become his fusion cannon, which is really cool. It's kind of weird looking, honestly. Now, he is a deluxe size figure, and he's a little bit smaller, but I dig that. I like that they're a little bit smaller, because kind of harkens to a time before what we're used to seeing with these big, giant, powerful bots. They grow into it. One thing that I love, but I think that the Takara version of this actually doesn't call him Megatron. They call him Megatronus, which is his name before he becomes Megatron. So that's absolutely cool. And again, I'll double check that to make sure. But there's the packaging for him. So without further ado, let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Megatron open up and out of his packaging. And much like the Orion Pax figure, and as I showed off kind of in the beginning part, he does come with this comic book with a really nice image on here that you can kind of sort of see. Very nice design on here. Now when you open it up, it says that these the stories in this take place prior to the events in Transformers Volume 3, Revenge of the Decepticons. And throughout this comic, we basically see how Megatron gets a new form and essentially just beats the tar out of Starscream the whole time. Really very cool, and really does explain a little bit more into why Megatron looks this way. One thing that does kind of suck is, I'm trying to find a good image here. Well, that's not a very good image. I mean, it's kind of close, but a lot of the images on here, and I know I'm not showing the whole comic, I don't want to show the whole thing, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but like when you look down here, the artwork for Megatron, you can see has a lot of like purple panel lines. Here's a good one right here, but you can't see that one. Here, I gotta find you a good one that's not gonna give too much away. But like for example here, you can see all the different panel lines and how they're highlighted in a lighter purple. I really dig that. And then you come around here to the back, and then, like I said, it continues on with Transformers Volume 3, Revenge of the Decepticons. And one thing that's really very neat in the comic that you're reading is that Megatron seems to really like being this jet. He likes being able to fly. But you can see all these lines right throughout here, they're molded in. And it would look a little bit better if like this light purple kind of right here was done throughout all of those different panel lines. It would just really make this pop and really make it a lot more accurate to how he looks in the actual comic. Now, Megatron here is based off of a B-2 bomber. My biggest problem is he is a fairly small size figure. I mean, you can see that's how big he is. It's not very big at all. But I do love it, and I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up, but you can, you kind of can see it, more so here on the wings, but the entire body has this like sparkly paint throughout it, which it just looks really very cool. I mean, you can see it better on here because it's on the translucent purple bit right there, but you can kind of see it there. There's little speckles of color throughout it, and I really dig that. I think it's very cool. Coming around to the bottom, it's fairly clean on the bottom. I don't really like the landing gear, especially how it goes in like this. It's just one of those little annoyances that I have with airplane Transformers. He's got molded wheels here and here, but when you land, so you move it, and then that would come crashing down. And I mean, you don't have to do it. I mean, you can move it, and they don't roll. That's just me scraping it along the bottom. But a plane wouldn't have the landing gear doing it like that, I suppose, or at least make it lock. That would be fine. That's just one of my annoyances, I suppose. But really cool looking jet mode. I do dig it. Like I said, it could use a few extra paint applications, but it's still very nice. Now, at first I thought that this was a purple, and it's really not a purple, and it's also not really a black. I can't articulate the color of this. It's almost like it's black with purple mixed into it. And then you got the nice slightly purple bits right here. I mean, overall, I really do like it. I just wish it was a little bit bigger. That's one of my biggest nitpicks, I suppose. Now, to transform them, first what you want to do is you want to remove these wings. They just clip in on the side just like so. They just kind of hook up on there. Now that's going to become his fusion cannon later on, and we'll put that together in a little bit. But when that's done, you're just left with this, and it kind of looks like the Pentagon. I mean, it's the Pentagon. That's really all it is. Then you want to come around here to the side. You're going to loosen this. Then I like rotating this around just to kind of get some clearance out of the way. Lift that up and get it out like so. Do that on this side. Rotate that around. Kind of angle that out just like so. Like I said, just giving you a little bit of clearance to do things and angling up so you can see a little bit better. Then you're taking these legs here on the side, separating this, then you're just rotating these out, angling this down. You can see it's on this little joint. It was up here. You're just angling that down just a little. Then take these bits right here, fold these up like so, rotate these down and around, well, the other way, and you are creating his legs. Now, when you fold this out like this, I really don't like the way that these legs look. That's very hollow, very empty. It's really very deep and ugly. Now, one thing that I've noticed, and this isn't in the instructions, is this panel here on the side, if you get the feet position right, you can actually pinch it in a little bit more. There's no other reason other than that to have this swivel joint on here, but when you're doing it, it almost feels, and you can see that, it doesn't seem like it's supposed to do that. So, I mean, you can get it angled out there, and it just depends on how you have the feet positioned, and that'll determine on whether or not it actually stays angled in. That closes it up a little bit better, makes it look a little bit better, I guess, but I'm still not a big fan of that. I understand that there's not much really they can do, although I guess I would have liked to have seen them maybe put more of an angle in here where you can pinch them in a little bit more, but whatever. Then this bit right here, these unhook off to the side, and this bit's actually a bit of a pain in the butt. You want to angle this down and then rotate this around. You get his head cleared out, and then you bring this down, and see, this part's a little bit of an annoyance. There we go. Keep it angled out like that, and then you're gonna bring this chest piece down and get this to lock in, and it's kind of tricky depending on how you do it. There you go. Come on. And why aren't you lining up properly to go in the hole? Go in the hole. Yeah, I'm just going to get these out of the way. That'll bring it down. There we go. And then bring that up. Just like so. And then it actually fits in there fairly nicely. I was making it look a little bit more difficult, so get these arms out of the way. And then these bits right here actually accordion up a little and hook in here, and that opens that section up. So once you angle that, then hook this right up in there, rotate these arms around, keep them angled up, do that on this side as well, rotate them around, fold out the hand, do that on this side, fold out the hand. This rotation here is really very stiff too. And here you have Megatron in his robot mode. Now, no Megatron will be complete without his fusion cannon. So these bits, what you do, you just plug these together. Well, fold out the little peg that's going to connect to his arm. And then these just tab together right like so. And then one little bit that I absolutely love is you take this bottom section and just angle this, and it brings the whole thing up like so. I mean, I think that's really very cool. It's just down, up. I mean, it's really cool. And then you just plug it in. But the problem that I have with this is from the side, the fusion cannon looks really cool. I really do dig it. But from that side, it's ugly. Now, it's absolutely accurate to how the comic book looks, so I really can't complain too much. But kind of a ugly design. I don't care for it all that much. It's still cool looking, like I said. I mean, from the top, and then I mean you can actually keep it a little bit smaller, squish that in, like so. I mean, you can have a little bit smaller of a fusion cannon if you really wanted, but I mean, it's Megatron. Why wouldn't you want a long cannon? And again, I kind of wish that I could actually put this up a little bit higher on him. But again, I guess that's just being a nitpick, I suppose. But like I said, getting him positioned a little bit. Here you have Megatron in his robot mode. And this guy is a wonderful, wonderful figure. Now, granted, again, he is a pretty small Transformer. Being a deluxe size, it really will probably put a lot of people off. But one thing that I'm very happy to say is that the Takara version is, as I said, named Megatronus, and a lot of the panel lines will be painted in the purple color that you see kind of going throughout here. And there's some other paint changes, like this section here is basically all black and silver. Instead of purple here on the fusion cannon, it's actually red translucent color, which I guess it's okay. And then there's a lot of extra paint on the face. I mean, that one looks terrific, honestly, and will probably make me actually pick that one up as well, just because of how good it looks. Other than the size on this, though, I really don't have too much to complain about. It's a really solid and very nice looking figure. It really has a very good Megatron feel to it. His feet are a little bit of a cumbersome mess, especially when you're trying to keep these bits here on the back tabbed in, because it makes the heel stand up a little weird. But I mean, this is a terrific figure. The fusion cannon probably is a little bit more weirder than I would like. I mean, I don't like this. It kind of gives a weird claw look, but again, it's accurate to how it looks in the comic book. So it's kind of one of those things where just the design, I guess, I don't particularly like. But I'm sure a lot of people will like that by itself. And in the comic, you can see when he's actually blasting it, this whole thing fills up with like energy and stuff, and then he just goes kablowy and he blows somebody up. So really a very cool figure. Now obviously his accessory is just this. You can have it in the side. You can also have him hold it, but really, why would you, well, maybe, why would you have Megatron holding this blaster? I mean, or his fusion cannon. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm going to set that off to the side for right now. Now, for his articulation, it is a little bit difficult to get the head to turn. The ball joint here is really stiff. The head sculpt is wonderful, though. Zoom in so that you can see that. I mean, that is a really nice head sculpt. Now, you can actually see the shape of an M up here, almost like Megatron. But honestly, for me, I don't even look at this as Megatron. I do look at this as Megatronus. And the bio on the back of the packaging, while the comic book doesn't really kind of follow that, the bio on the packaging really harkens at that time when he really wasn't all that evil. When he utilized the name Megatronus before he took on the name of Megatron. Megatron. So again, for me, I like the smaller size because it's like a pre-Megatron. It shows a nice evolution from a smaller figure to a much bigger one. And now for a comparison, because if this is going to be Megatronus, and since I kind of like thinking of this in the video game continuity, you have him next to the Deluxe Class War for Cybertron Megatron. Now, there's a little bit more of a difference between the look here. But one thing that you are seeing is that there's been, over the years, a considerable difference in terms of the sizes. This was a deluxe figure just a few years ago. I believe this came out in 2010. So you can see the price or the size reduction. And I know a lot of people will complain about that. But for me, as I said, I like seeing the evolution here. And to me, it's really not all that bad. I mean, I see a lot of similarities, mostly in the torso area. The head's very similar as well. But you have the torso bit where the crotch area looks kind of the same. And then you got the tapered look up here, very much like that has. So I do enjoy that, but you can see a big difference in terms of the sizes. Now, before I went off on that tangent, I was talking about the articulation. So the head is on a very limited ball joint. You can get it kind of looking up and down a little bit more than turning around. He does rotate here at the shoulder on a ball joint, moves in and out, things of that nature. You got the rotation up here just above the elbow. It's very stiff on mine. Then he bends here also at the elbow. The wrist just move in and out. I really wish you could actually rotate it. It would allow you to give a little bit more of a dynamic pose, I guess, with him as having the gun where you're having the fist up or something. Doesn't rotate at the waist, unfortunately. The hips move forward and back, in and out on a ball joint. Then they bend at the knee, and then the cut at the upper part of the knee allows for it to rotate right there. The feet move forward and back. You got some pivot here in the foot, but again, it's like if you have it all the way back, you're not able to bring this all the way in. So you kind of have to keep the heel down, and then in doing so, it kind of makes things bunch up a little bit, kind of looking a little funky here in the feet. And I popped this torso bit out here, so get that back in there. But overall, this is an absolute wonderful, wonderful figure. Despite its size, this is a very solid toy. Now, to transform him back, you're gonna start off here with the fists, just gonna rotate those around, and then lift this section up, and then swivel that out like so. Do that on this side as well. Untab it from this top section, rotate that down, just kind of collapse those in just like that. Come on, get that out of the way. There we go. Then lift this up, kind of straighten out his head, and rotate this all the way around. Then you're going to rotate this down, and like I said, this part here you're going to collapse downward and then angle up and in. And then you can have a little tab section right there that it locks into. So again, angle this down like so, rotate it forward, kind of tab it in just like so. Again, we're just going to leave these out to the side, giving us some clearance to do things. Go ahead and separate these little panels. I'm going to rotate those in, then accordion this section up. I know I say accordion a lot, I just mean fold it up. And then rotate these bits around, and then rotate them around again. But then while you're doing it, tuck this section all the way down. So you're going to bring that up like that. So again, rotate this out, spin it around, then rotate it around right like so. Getting these out of the way, then you bring this, and then you got a little tab right here that tabs in underneath there. Bring that all together. Do that on this side. Oh, I forgot to tuck the kneecap in. So do that. Bring that in. Lock that in. Lock that in. Keep that all nice and tabbed in. Then you're going to rotate this around. Bring this around. Rotate this arm bit all the way around, keeping that lined up. Then bring this in, kind of tuck those feet in. Then you got a little hole section on the inside of the main body that a little tab on the arm pegs into. And if you can get it lined up, there we go. Just like so. Do that on this side as well. Rotate that around, bring it up, spin that around. It makes it a little bit more difficult because of how tight those joints are right there, but I do like that. I'd rather have it be too tight than too loose. Tuck that in, tuck that in, tuck the little feet in, and we're back to the pentagon mode. And then take this, separate that, rotate that down, fold that bit in, and then they just come around here, and you got the little hook right there that grabs onto this section here. Well, if I can actually do it. Wait, what the heck am I doing? There we go.
Oh, well, I have it all the way in, Paul. Come on. What am I doing here? What? Hey, man, I'm struggling. There we go. And then just hook that up and in like that. Do that on this side as well. Make sure you collapse that all the way. And then we're going to bring it right there. And here you have Megatronus back in his B2 bomber mode. Now, so far, I've taken a look at 3 out of the 4 of the first wave of these new IDW figures. And so far, all 3 of them are absolute must-haves. Megatron here looks really sharp in this B2 bomber. I think that the Takara one will look a little bit better with the added panels and everything of that nature, but if you can't afford that extra premium cost, this is a perfectly fine figure to have. The transformation is very fun, it's unique, and it's something that I really don't think that we've gotten before. Especially with the chest, I love how it folds over and then actually opens up. I think that's really a cool touch. And then these wings, I actually thought that they would annoy me at first, being part of the transformation, but I love how it's incorporated with the actual vehicle mode. You get wonderful storage that way. Now, the robot mode is probably where I have, honestly, the biggest problem, because he's kind of small. I'm sorry, the jet mode is where I have the biggest problem because he's kind of small. The robot mode, I actually really enjoy because, as I said, I like thinking of it as a pre-Megatron figure. To me, this is Megatronus, and I don't think that Megatronus should be as big as Megatron. To me, that's just personal preference, but I love that. As I said, so far 3 out of the 4 are absolute must-haves and home runs in my opinion. And in addition to the wonderful toy, you get great comic books with them. I'm not much of a comic book reader, and I know a lot of people tell me that I should be. I just unfortunately don't have the time to read comics. If I did, I would really probably enjoy those. And in doing so, I would probably never get any other work done. So don't encourage me to read comics, guys. Otherwise, I'll probably stop doing videos. But absolutely wonderful figure, and I highly, highly recommend picking him up. So if you are interested in getting him, go ahead and click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Big Bad Toy Store, and you can pick up this guy, as well as the rest of Series 1 of these awesome IDW figures. But that's about it, guys, so until next time, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Keep in touch with me. Find out recent purchases, as well as all upcoming video reviews, all at facebook.com/teambotimus, and follow me over on Twitter at twitter.com/optibotimus. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.
When the going gets rough, you've been put to the test.